Now, according to the people we interviewed in Badiya and Okoko communities, they claim that the pipes we saw in their drains were laid by the Lagos State Water Corporation. So we're now here at their headquarters in Ijora in Lagos State to find out if really the Lagos State Water Corporation laid those pipes and why.
Those are illegal service pipes that have been connected by consumers from probably some distance away and having to pass them through drains to prevent them from being damaged by vehicles. What we advocate is to have direct service connection from the frontage of every property. We have been doing something, we've been disconnecting them. We have a zero tolerance for pipes laid in drains because at the end of the day, they become sources of intrusion into our mains. And we then end up with problems of contamination. We disconnect them. What we are advocating is having people connected directly from their frontage. The genesis of that really is the demand-supply gap. Demand has outstripped supply, which we are addressing.
So how come it's only those who sell water in such neighborhoods that get constant water supply and all the other houses don't?
Well, that is a problem which we are currently facing. We're using the state security apparatus to tackle that menace. It's a problem which is getting out of hands. His Excellency is aware of this and he has given us full support. We have vandals or economic saboteurs who illegally tap into our mains. They illegally tap into our mains and divert water for their own, for their own sale.
Drainage channels in most neighborhoods like Okoko and Badiya are usually nothing to write home about. They literally overflow with feces and other forms of waste. Pipes which the State Water Corporation have qualified as illegal are sadly still the major source of water supply and continue to run along or across gutters and canals.
Because this is the only normal pipe that supply water to this area. But there's no borehole, nowhere. Even though that if they have well, the well is not pure because it's nowhere deep. The well is not deep. Actually, this area, the land of this area is that the area is not pure. The land is not pure. You understand? And if they dig borehole in this area, the water will not pure. Even though if you dig it, something like 20 feet or 100 feet, the water will not pure. And if you call people that dig it borehole, come to this area, they will charge you something like 200,000 or 100,000. And this area, all those people, they don't have that kind of a money to dig that borehole. You understand? And when, even though if you call them, if they dig the water, if they dig that borehole, the borehole you cannot be able to drink it because the water is not pure.
Water is rationed in most areas served by the Water Board, and erratic power supply has been blamed for this.
It is true that as far back as 5 years, 10 years ago, we've had epileptic water supply in some areas. That again can be seen as a result of the poor power supply. There is a nexus between availability of power and water supply. We require constant power to be able to pump water constantly to the public. It was the realization of that constraint that made the government to look towards IPP having a dedicated power supply to power the two major waterworks of Iju and Adion, both of which are jointly responsible for about 90% of the water consumed in the metropolis. The plethora of mini and micro waterworks that we have dotting the entire landscape of the state are just to complement the efforts of Ijuanati. They too are affected by the erratic power supply. But if we are able to supply Ijuanati, the biggest waterworks in Nigeria, I dare say, with 24/7 power supply, it will make tremendous difference to service delivery in the metropolis.
Only a minimal percentage of water produced in Lagos State, for instance, yield any revenue for the Water Authority. But this challenge is not shared by the illegal water operators who source their own power, intercept water flow from the board, and sell to Lagosians who buy because they have no other option.
The government should help us. We don't have water, so we buy a bucket for between 20 and 50 naira. Despite the money we spend, it is hardly clean. So for drinking, we patronize the pure water operators. The only time we are assured of free and clean water is when it rains. Many often fall ill as a result of unclean water.
Humans to meet their daily water requirements, water needs, to solve both their domestic needs, industrial purposes, and other means of livelihood. And because side by side inability of the government to provide sufficient portable source of water or means of livelihood in this respect, then humans definitely have to find alternatives. And that's why you have the concept, the idea of boreholes, wells, both shallow and deep wells all over the place. Now, also because Lagosians have to, or a lot of Lagosians, the government is not yet able to meet a reasonable percentage of the populace in terms of water supply. Everybody has to lay his own pipe all over the place. And what the implication is that you have, in most cases, substandard piping system. Lack of the technical know-how to actually know how to lay these pipes. And that's why you have a lot of pipes all running all over the city, which have not really met the standard, or perhaps did they pass through the proper impact assessment specification.
About 10% of the total global burden of disease is linked to poor water, sanitation, and hygiene. Statistics of this nature led to governments all around the world signing up in year 2000 to the Millennium Development Goals. Scarce water resource will always ensure hygiene is compromised. So what is the Lagos State government putting in place to check this?
We are currently constructing 12 waterworks, 12 mini waterworks, each with a design capacity of 2 million gallons per day.
What volume of water should an area like Victoria Island be receiving, and what is available to them now?
Victoria Island would require about 10 million gallons per day.
So how much do they get now?
Right now, as I said, because of the problems and challenges of power supply, we are not able to meet that capacity, but we're working on it. From about April. From April, we'll be able to meet that demand.
Yes, but what do they have now?
It's less than 10. Less than
the exact figure.
It depends on availability of power. It varies. It varies. It varies between 5 and under 10. It's under 10.
What volume of water should a neighborhood like Amukoko be receiving, and what are they getting now?
Amukoko, it depends on, as I said, it depends on the population. Amukoko would make do with 2 million gallons per day.
So what do they have now? What do they get now?
We're presently building waterworks in that area.
Now, what are they receiving now?
In Amukoko.
Yes. In an ideal setting, you said 2 million.
Yes.
So what I'm wondering now, what
It's,
are they receiving?
it's under a million. It's under a million, but we're working on improving that. As I said, there's a waterworks which is being constructed in Ajegunle, which is in addition to the existing 1 million gallons per day capacity plant that is on ground. Ajangbadi, we're building another 2 million gallons per day. All these areas are interwoven. The networks are interwoven. So by the time we inject 2 million from here, 2 million from there, 1 million from there, 4 mgd from Ishasi, the water reticulates and gets to everybody, including Amukoko.
If the plans and ongoing projects of the Lagos State Water Corporation is timely and fully completed, the water challenge of the state could become history. It will also go a long way in improving hygiene, sanitation, and quality of the environment. This will add more feathers to the cap of the Lagos State government and a plus to the impressive development efforts.